So here we are.
Again.
At
Seems like
last.
we just did this.
I know, isn't it irritating?
No, it's like my life. It seems like I already had a... Didn't I just have a birthday? Hey, your birthday's coming up. Not for another...
No, it's next
crap.
month, dude. We will be another year older next month.
No, we won't.
Well, you know what I mean.
I do.
We'll turn the calendar. No, we'll
still be 12-year-olds.
Emotionally, yes.
I used to be offended by that when women would say, I have 3 kids.
Yep.
The 2 little ones and him.
Yep.
I used to be very offended by that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got over it.
Easy to get over if you get a good hard look at yourself.
if I look at me, I go,
holy crap.
I've told her this and she knows it. I told Rob this several times. Every time I see you in the morning or when you come home from work, I go, what is wrong with her? I mean, this is not in my head, the whole conversation is, this is not your best option, girl.
Yeah, right. Could have had somebody good.
So I told her, the first time I told her, she looked at me and goes, yeah, but I am too old to try and break in another one.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like Rob. She's a very practical person.
She is. Thank God one of us is. We also had that discussion once. You get the 2 of the artistic types.
Yeah.
They would have a red hot time together. It would be spectacular.
Yeah.
And they'd be dead in 28 minutes.
Yep. Yep.
Meantime, you get 2 boring people together, they'll live longer.
But nobody will be happy about it.
At the best, slightly disgruntled.
Yes.
That's at the best. Although, you know what? I don't know. I think that's some people's love language.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And they get
mine is being annoying to you.
You're annoying to everybody.
Yeah,
don't
but mostly
pretend.
it's for you.
Okay.
You're special.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I was thinking more short
yourself.
bus special, but okay.
Okay, well, whatever. So I want to set this up. There is a word in the English language that came about by accident, by a mistake. And it's a word that we have a fairly long history with.
We do.
Yeah, you and me. And
I figured that's who we was.
I can't remember the whole story. And I want you to do this background. The word is umpire. Yep. And what was it? It wasn't Mad Magazine, was it?
No, it was Cracked.
It was Cracked. That's it. Tell the story.
Oh, it was back when the blaxploitation movies were a big deal.
Okay, like Shaft and
yep. Although Shaft was probably the best done of them back then.
Yeah, it was.
Although Superfly was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But they had, black vampires and things. And so Blackula came out.
That's right.
I know, boy, somebody in Hollywood greenlit that. I'm guessing someone in Toronto greenlit that. And
yeah, it just leaked down.
And it was as most vampire. The only ones who do really consistently good vampire movies, Hammer back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And so help me, if any of you are Twilight fans, just leave now.
There's the door. Right, well,
jeez.
There's the door.
The werewolf should have won. Anyway, I don't know. I'm guessing. I've never watched any of it.
I've never fought one.
As soon as they told me there were glittery vampires, I was like,
what?
No. One more. Hang on. No.
Well, they got stuck in Barbie's
Marvel
castle.
Marvel actually did a comic book on Anyway, Blackula was one of the blaxploitation films, and it was hideously awful. Yep. And Cracked, which was it was like Mad.
Yeah, Mad.
A satirical kind of taking a pot shots at things. They had Blackula. Like Blech.
Blackula.
Blackula.
These are some of the guys from Mad, for that matter. That's why they look so.
They were, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And Blackula had a problem. Well, for one, he's a black vampire. He had to sit in the back of the coffin.
So many wrongs.
Were they? They were funny.
Well, it was funny, but it was still.
And yet it pointed out things in a way that,
yeah, we did that. That was stupid. We shouldn't have.
Wasn't our best plan.
No.
And what was it? Oh, right? I am a vampire. Which is odd because I don't ever remember hearing a real vampire say that.
Right. All the real vampires I've met have just let you find out.
Closest it is when somebody says, "Who are you?" And you go, "I'm Batman." That's
Who else would I be?
so Blackula. Whenever he says, "What are you?" I am an umpire. Empire, vampire. That's it.
I am a campfire.
Well, and he had a whole and he had another one too.
Yeah.
Campfire. Something. Vampire.
Yes.
And the artists were spectacular because you have to see my
Okay. So,
umpire
umpire entered English as a mistranslated French word.
for vampire.
No.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
It stems from the Old French nombre, meaning odd number or not even,
I can relate to that with umpires.
in reference to a third-party authoritative judge. It's getting closer, isn't it?
I get it now. Yeah.
When it was brought into English, the initial N was incorrectly dropped because the word was heard as an umpire.
So we could have had a numpire.
Yeah, right?
Numpire.
Numpire I like, to tell you the truth.
I could live with that.
There's a couple of calls I've seen that are like, oh, you guys.
I have decided after watching a few games, not just Twins games, just a few games, that because of the amazing grasp of the strike zone most Major League umpires have now,
Yes.
they are forcing Major League Baseball to come up with a way to make it better.
Anyway, the missed division result was umpire. And it became the official English version of the word by the mid 14th century when it was used as legal jargon.
Umpire?
Umpire. Yeah, yeah. They talk about
I
umpires.
remember.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't
like
be
a
a judge, but it'd
Yeah.
be like an advocate in the middle of like an arbitration thing.
Yeah. It was eventually brought into gaming and sports, where it's most commonly used today, in the early 18th century.
18th century minus one, 1700s?
Yep.
Wowzers. There's a
Yep.
plus one, 1900s?
No, it was just, go back. I love when kids now say back in the 1900s, and I'm kind of going, I remember about half of those. We just under half for us. We were born in 58.
Yeah, but I don't think I remember half of them.
Well,
I remember a pretty good chunk from like 60. I remember one thing about 62,
okay.
63.
Hut.
What year was Kennedy? What year did Kennedy, was he assassinated?
We were in
61?
kindergarten.
63,
Okay.
because my cartoons weren't on in the afternoon.
Yeah, that was a day. I remember
They weren't on for 2 days.
It was cloudy down in where I lived in Edina. And I got home off the bus and there were no lights on in the house. My mother was cooking over the stove.
You're a
with
cake
no
eater.
lights on. Well, yeah. You went to private school. Don't you dare shine me on that.
Yeah, but back then private school cost $300 a year. There are people out there going,
Right?
because right now what it cost me to go to St. Cloud State is about what it costs to go to my alma mater for a year.
Oh,
I think. I might be low on that.
little.
Anyway,
So,
you're out.
yeah, it's the way it is.
Back to the Empire. Vampire.
Campfire,
Umpire thing.
dumpster fire.
There you go.
And my last item is just one of those wonderful things. My mother used to, she worked at a lot of churches as a secretary.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Why would she do that?
Because my dad was a pastor,
Well, that would narrow it down.
but he was also a chaplain. So she would work for other churches, not my dad's, because my dad was often at the VA or the Army post.
I get it.
And so this is in, I don't know whose daily or Sunday flyer, Holy Communion. All baptized Christians are welcome to receive Holy Communion. Are welcome to receive Holy Communion. During communion, the choir will sing.
Forthright honesty.
Well, I'm thinking pictures or it didn't happen. This I gotta see.
Is there?
No.
It's easy enough to do.
Yeah, my mom once in a bulletin was thanking a parishioner
Uh-oh.
for the flowers in the sanctuary. And she knew she made a mistake, so she whited it out and went and did something else while the whiteout dried. And she forgot to go back and fix the problem. So we'd like to thank the person for the flowers.
We'd like to thank Mrs.
We'd like to thank Deborah's ass instead of Deborah Sass.
So close.
It was just, and my dad said, couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Did she actually forget?
Maybe not. I think it was a Freudian slip because she made herself pretty.
Speaking of which,
What?
sorry, go. You weren't done.
No, I am done.
Freud was born 169 years ago, yesterday, May 6th.
Okay.
So somebody came up with, they called them interesting or disturbing facts about Freud.
There's a lot of disturbing about that guy.
We can thank Freud for the modern practice of using therapy dogs.
Oh.
He had a kick me dog?
Oh,
Those
yeah.
yappy little things?
Oh, you mean not as he wasn't saying, get a dog you can kick.
No, he had one. That was his
Okay.
dog. And
All right.
sometimes the dog would sit in the room when he was doing therapy with someone. And if the dog didn't look like their mother or father, he apparently was. Freud never paid anything for the iconic couch his patients would lie on, by the way.
Why?
He got it as a gift.
Oh, I thought he maybe leased.
Oh, no. He got it as a gift from a previous patient. That's where couch sales went nuts for the Psycho Cruise.
Interesting.
Freud did not really have a problem with gay men. He called male homosexuality neurosis.
Okay.
Not a big concern.
Okay.
Females, boy, that was a no-no. He didn't.
What?
He believed that only men were able to make moral choices and women never develop an inherent sense of morality. If Sigmund Freud were alive today, women would be killing him.
Yeah, they would. They'd be burning him in effigy and in Belgium and France.
And this might be the most evil thing he did. He loved tobacco.
Well, and cocaine. This guy was a major cocaine addict.
Really? I haven't got that far yet. Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Number 5, Freud loved tobacco, smoking in his 20s, never stopped. He was at times smoking up to 20 cigars a day.
Yep.
Dude, respect. Oh, look, number 6.
He couldn't
and
taste
cocaine.
anything. There we go.
You like that? Do you suppose he mixed them at all? I love the line that whoever wrote this for Audie. We're talking about Scarface level here.
Yeah. Yeah. The man was a major consumer. In fact, he wrote to one girlfriend, you may be a big, strong woman, but you're no problem for a man with a body full of cocaine.
No one is. Well, but you got to remember, though, up until when? The 1930s? Cocaine was used legally.
All the time. And some was in Coca-Cola.
Freud had a prosthetic jaw.
Oh, I barely remember hearing about that.
20 cigars a day, remember?
Yeah.
Yep. He developed mouth cancer apparently in 1923. He had 33 different surgeries over the next 16 years. And they ended up giving him a fake jaw. So now I'm picturing him. Have you ever... Tin Man. Let's go with Tin Man. I'm thinking of the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
With the chin strap things where the straps hooked around his ears to keep his jaw closed.
Yep. Freud committed doctor-assisted suicide.
Yep.
Got his doctor friend to help him with that. See, that way, not only are you dead, but the doctor can live with that for the rest of his life. And there are tons and tons of his documents that are around that nobody's read because they're all locked away. They're in the Freud archives at the Freud estate. And the Freud estate has prohibited public access to the files because they would probably show he was loonier than we even think.
Yeah, the man had serious issues.
Which is very funny because one of the shows I like watching is called Vienna Blood.
Yeah.
And one of the the young psychologist, is a Freudian.
Okay.
Said, "Oh, kid,
Well,
everything
some
you're
of
about to say is going to be stupid in about 60 years."
some of what Freud did, like, the dog thing and some other stuff, isn't so bad. It's just it came from this very weird and broken person,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, oh, you're Baba.
That's what I said. Well, I didn't say it that eloquently, but
You got more story, or
one you'll appreciate.
oh, good.
From Pang.
Is this going to be painful?
I wonder if they're talking vampires, umpires, empires?
Campfires.
From Pang, Germany, men in short leather pants and embroidered suspenders, which are called
Suspenders.
lederhosen. Come on.
Only if they're made out of leather.
Men in short leather pants.
Lederhosen.
And embroidered suspended risked dislocating digits.
How?
Phalanges. As they vied for the top prize at Germany's championship in the sport of Fingerhocklen. Hockeln?
Depending on how you pronounce that,
Finger wrestling.
Could be quite dirty.
We're not going there.
Okay.
But 180 competitors took part in the 64th German Championship Finger Wrestling Tournament in Pang. This is about an hour's drive outside of, it's about an hour southwest of Munich. So the finger wrestling, popular in Germany's Alpine region. Honestly, in the old days, what else was there to do in the winter?
They had a lot of snow.
A lot of dark.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we had our 4 hours of sun. It was popular in the Alpine region, neighboring Austria, and it originated as a way to settle disputes. The earliest
I'm so sad they lost that later on.
The earliest depictions of the sport date to the 19th century. I know. It would have caused much less grief.
Can you imagine Hitler?
By the way,
the British saying, I want to do the finger thing with you.
But
really, probably the German word would be better to use there.
Yeah. The Bavarian dress they wore was known as a Tracht.
Ah.
I'm guessing that must be when you embroider the suspender part. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I had never heard of that before, and my first thought was, oh, that would have saved us 2 world wars. And then my second thought was, well, it would have saved us 1.
Yeah, at least. Hopefully.
Yeah, because the first one, Austria was the bully. We're going to war, dang it. They're bad people, and he killed the guy that I don't really like, but he is family and he is royalty, so we're going to war.
Yeah, over that.
We're going to attack the Serbians, and then they did something else, and pretty soon everybody was there.
Yep.
World War I.
Off to the comments.
Are they off?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Apropos of This Is True Really News, episode 956, from Decombsify, my son Drew, no relation. All your base are belong to us. Yes. Also, we got a missive from...
That was right up there with, what does the fox say?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a lot of Coyote quotes from a couple of Bugs Bunny episodes with Wile E. Coyote. In one, he was a genius, and in the other, he was a super genius.
Jessica Thompson also sent a note that said, all your base are belong to us.
Okay.
But she included with it a Wikipedia article.
Yep. Did it have the picture?
It's an internet meme based on a poorly translated phrase from the opening cutscene of the Japanese video game Zero Wing. First appearing on the European release in 1991, Sega Mega Drive, Genesis port of the 1989 Japanese arcade game. By the early 2000s, a GIF animation depicting... I'm not even going to go into that. All your base belong to us. Yeah.
That was a big deal for about a minute.
Yeah, it was. Well, and you remembered it, but I didn't. So
I can't remember my kid's name half the time, but...
Yeah.
Something that was red hot for 27 seconds one year was that I remember.
Apropos, This Is True Really News, episode 956 from DeBone. Oh, wow, released 9 hours ago, and I'm the first viewer? Here's my like. Oh, and since y'all asked, it's more like da bone, from me being a stick and being called Bones early in life. Have a day, sirs.
Wait, are you an anthropological genius who helps the FBI solve crimes?
That would be Bones. This one's da bone.
Oh.
Probably a French predecessor.
No, that would be Le Bon.
Well, where does da bone come from?
The body?
Apropos of This Is True Really News Mailbag.
You did ask.
Episode 178.
Even the zebra looks mad at me now. Thanks.
From Patrick Reed, our man in Liverpool. Tony.
Lottie.
Round. Circular. It's semantics? How about spherical? I'm going with him on this.
How about bite me? In my roundish, but not quite circular or spherical, you know where.
And we were talking about...
was he a grammar Nazi when he was here?
No. Oh. No, not at all. No, he's a Liverpudlian. Are you kidding me?
I did not say that, by the way.
Them Liverpoodles, let me tell you, they can sling the King's English.
We gave you such a lovely language. Why don't you use it?
A cause.
Exactly.
Apropos, This Is True Really News Mailbag, episode 178. Again, from Patrick Reed, our man in Liverpool. We had gotten to talking about that we liked animals.
Yep.
And how I
love little baby ducks.
A bunch of old schmucks.
Old pickup trucks.
And kangaroos.
And Zane Grey. I don't know.
And Patrick says...
The one I like the best is we got all these marvelous rhymey ones, and the last one, and onions. All right. I'm not arguing with Tom T. Hall. Okay.
And I was waxing poetic and said, finally, Scott, certain people I hate if they're on all fours, maybe Patrick says that gives us pause for thought.
Did he spell it P-A-W-S?
Of course he did. He's a dad. Dad jokes said by Britons, the Irish in Liverpool.
They're just as funny as dad jokes in America. And actually, most of them are reasonably clever. It's just they get used so often after someone hears them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In another decade, they'll be iconic.
And finally...
That's how this works. First they're funny, then they're not funny.
Then they become funny again.
And then they're iconic and become smiles forever.
Yeah. Apropos, This Is True Really News Mailbag, episode 178. That was a popular mailbag. We got to the end and we found ourselves in one of those things where nothing but double entendres were coming out of our mouths. And Tony,
we were double entending?
Yes. We weren't intending entending.
And yet we doubled.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
And Tony ended with, so how about them twins? Well, old fat man says, how about them twins?
They suck. Oh. That's not true. They did suck. Now they're only bad.
There we are. That's just too funny in my view.
The Twins in their regular season games, the first part of the season, the first few weeks, looked like the Lynx did last night in their first preseason game, boys. What does that tell you?
Awful. Speaking of which, we have the Timberwolves are back in the playoffs.
Yes, and they looked just awful last night, too.
Yeah, but they beat the Lakers, and that was fun. What? It wasn't?
Steph Curry played 13 minutes of the game last night. I think.
Oh wow. And how many did he put in?
I think he either had 13 points in 16 minutes or 16 points in 13 minutes, something like that.
Either way, it's gaudy.
Didn't matter. The goon on the team, Draymond Green, suddenly became Steph Curry. He hit 4 of 6 3-pointers in the first half, ended up with 4 of 8.
And they were here.
He reverted, but Jimmy Butler was weird. He played a lot like Ant. Shoot the ball instead of passing it all the time. What's wrong with you? Ant finally hit a 3-pointer in the third quarter. It was his first jump shot that he hit. He was missing many layups he had 1 point in the first half.
Wow. So this, fellas, this ain't our night, and the bad news is it's on our home court.
Welcome to Face of the Franchise.
Moving on.